We're here at the Frick Building for a special sponsor spotlight all about Quantum Theater. They're getting ready here in the space for their next production, The Devil is a Lie. And to tell us all about it and what makes Quantum Theater unique, we've got the director of the show, Kyle Hayden, right here. Kyle, thanks for having us.
Of course, thanks for having us here.
So we're in this weird nook of the Frick Building that I never knew existed. This is the Innovation Center.
Yeah, we've taken it over for a couple of months to have the show.
And that's sort of one of the fun things about Quantum is that the shows are always in new locations.
Yeah, so Quantum takes over different spaces, never the same location twice. So it's a site-specific theater. So Carlo Booth, the artistic director, is always looking for different spots in the city to take over. So they've really been in every different kind of space that you can imagine.
And this space is like certainly, pretty unique and special, and it makes sense also for the kind of show that you're doing.
It does. So the main character, who it's centered around, George Fast, is kind of a information tech bro type of guy, and so we were looking for a space that kind of worked with that. So the nice thing about the Frick Building is it's from 1902, so it has this sort of like old world feel with the kind of molding, and so we try to put in some of those like new features as well. So it has the kind of old money meets new money feel. So that's what we're kind of going for in here.
And when people come to this show, it's like a little experiential, it's a little interactive.
Yeah, so it's not going to feel like your typical theater experience, right? We want you to kind of come in and feel like you're an event. We're casting you as an investor, right? You don't have any lines, but you're going to kind of come in and feel like that. So we want you to come into the space. We're in the middle of the tech process right now, so we're still setting everything up, but there'll be like an Instagrammable spot where you can take some pictures, you can mingle with a couple of the actors. There's a bar over here, so you can have a drink. So
well, as you said, there's a bar over there. It seems like there's a signature cocktail waiting for us.
Waiting for you, actually. We actually made you a drink, so here you go. You can kind of have this, sip on that a little bit, so get comfortable, right? And so when the play begins, we'll sort of ease you into that and move into the big space. So just having a different feel, that it doesn't feel like a quote-unquote traditional theater experience. But we're really going for something different here with this play.
Cool. And then we'll like head into the sort of the production space or the performance space over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so and everybody will kind of mosey or mingle over here eventually when we start the piece. And we want it to feel more like a trade show and an event type of space, right? So we've got the big screens up here, and so you'll be kind of, talking like you would go to a trade show or kind of showing something off. So this is where the show will start. The actors will kind of start on the platform and tell you basically how great they're doing, it's the best quarter ever, and just like any kind of big party. So it's a different sort of setup, not a traditional theater sort of proscenium flat with the stage on one end and the audience sitting everywhere. So just a different kind of feel for what we're trying to do here.
So as the director, like how is directing something in a non-traditional space different or more challenging for you?
Well, it's super challenging. You have to make up everything from scratch, right? So down to planning where the seats are, where the stage is going to be.
I guess when you walk into a theater, you're like, this is where the audience sits, this is where the actors go.
Exactly. So, figuring out where the lights are going to be and how this is all set up, right? This whole truss system that we have set up here was all brought in and set up by our lighting designer, C. Todd Brown. Figuring out the sound here, the acoustics, has been a battle that we've been fighting the last few weeks. How are the actors going to change and get to the stage? So you've got to think about all those little things that in a regular theater, it's all sort of set up for you. So Quantum, every time they do a show, has to think about, power, bathrooms, all those sorts of things have to be thought out very carefully before you start doing this.
And the playwright, Jennifer Chang, this is the first time this play has been performed.
That's correct. Yeah, it's a world premiere. So part of the process as well with the actors is kind of going through the script and figuring out, does this line work here, or do we want to make some changes? How is the structure going? So the first week of rehearsals was us sitting down with Jennifer and figuring out, do we want to keep these words here? Are we changing this? So it's a cool process to kind of work in real time and create the story. We're sort of building the plane as you fly it, but it's a cool experience to do that.
Well, maybe we should just walk over to that vault door because it's crazy looking.
It is, right? It's super old, and I think it was one of the original doors that was here. So this sort of like gold and embossed, the details on it, like the design, and this would probably be the whole budget alone to do something like this, So you can't find details like that anywhere. So that's what's so great about doing the site-specific kind of stuff, is that you find things like this, and then this can be part of the story or part of the design.
Yeah, and people can vote during the show too. There's an interactive component.
Yeah, there is. So it's one of the things we're really excited about, this immersive component. So most times in theater you have to put your phone away. So this, you're going to have to use your phone the whole time. So we've got this polling software that we're going to use. As one of the investors, you're going to need to make choices in the play that's actually going to affect the action. So the choices you make are going to affect things that happen in the play.
Wait, so does the cast have to learn all different lines depending on what people choose?
Yeah, there's different actions. It's not as kind of extensive as a choose your own adventure book, but there are different paths and different things that'll happen in the play based on the choices that you make. So it's, the play is the devil is a lie. The devil does appear in the play. So, you can kind of infer that maybe the choices aren't what they seem. Maybe they get more and more difficult as it goes on. But the choices that you make as an audience member do affect what happens in the play.
Oh my gosh, well, I am so excited to see it. Like, what's the best way for folks to buy tickets?
You can go to the Quantum's website and log on and buy tickets. It's April 7th through 30th. So we're really excited to show this to people. It's going to be a different type of theater experience. So I think the people who love theater, it's based on the traditional Dr. Faustus story written by Christopher Marlowe. But I also think people who are new to theater or maybe aren't sure that it's their bag, we're going to have a bunch of different type of things, right? This experience, this building, coming in, getting a cocktail, being able to vote, have your phone on the whole time, it's going to be really different as well. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for the tour. I'm excited to see the show myself.
Thanks for coming.